So not long ago, we told you about the Kia EV9. This is a car that I'm so excited for because it changes the game for family SUVs. It seats 6 or 7. It has an electric range of up to 300 miles. It has great horsepower. It has a lot of great features. And in the Kia EV9, Kia rethought everything. So let's take a look at some of the cool features in the Kia EV9, things that they did a little differently, what you need to know about this car, and I brought my tape measure and we're gonna measure to see how child passenger car seats are gonna fit. So the first thing you're gonna notice is the key to the Kia. It's a little different. It's white. Now it's that same shape that Kia has used in the past. There's buttons here, there's buttons here, and there is the lock button right there. I'm gonna lock it. And notice that the mirrors fold in, but also the door handles pop out. But if I approach and I tap, the door handles pop out. And this is an aerodynamic quality, actually. It is for aerodynamics. That's why the door handles recess into the body, but it's also very cool. The Kia EV9 is distinct for that rear end, for its very square shape and profile that gives it a lot of headroom, that gives it a lot of leg room, and it's tall. It is a true SUV, so it has that full stance. Notice the flat front end, the pixelated headlights. It's got a really distinct light signature that you can see very clearly on the highway. It has black cladding around the wheels and along the lower panels. That's going to keep mud off of the paint and rocks from denting your paint. And it has these nice roof rails so you can add things on the top, a luggage carrier or paddleboard or your skis easily will fit on the top for those long weeks of family travel. So there's a lot of ways to open the lift gate, including pressing this button and holding it. And there's the lift gate opening. So the question is, how much space is actually in this cargo area behind the third row? So it's not horrible. It's reasonable, actually. It gives you, it's a nice ground clearance. So you have enough space to fit maybe a good sized stroller, maybe even I don't think you'd fit a tandem, but you could fit a good sized stroller and a couple of bags here. If you want to add to the space here, you can lower that seat. And if you don't need either of those, you can lower them both. And then you have a really good amount of rear space. There is a charge cord here in this little backpack. This is all covered up, but it's a standard household outlet. So it's, if you need the level 2 charger, the 240 volt, you're going to need to order that. But this is a nice detail. At least they give you one, which is great. And then you have buttons here for lowering the second row. So I can actually lower the second row by pushing this button. So immediately when you open the door, you notice the steering wheel moves up and the driver's seat moves back. That is a system called ease of entry. It is a very luxurious detail. You see that in luxury cars, and now you see that in the Kia EV9, and now it goes back to my set position. You can turn that off in the screen here. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you've got a child passenger car seat in the seat behind you, you don't want that to happen because it'll bump up against the car seat or maybe crush somebody's legs. That's no fun. But let me show you around the front seat because everything is new and there's some good news here as well. So let me put my key away. I'm going to put my phone right here in the wireless charge pad, which is right here. It tucks into the underneath the armrest there. If I had programmed the system, I could actually put my finger right here on this little biometric receptor here, and I could start the car. I love that detail. That is very, not only something that you've only seen in luxury cars to date, but it also is super futuristic, like being able to open your computer with your finger or start your car with your face. Biometrics are the future. Let's start the car. So you turn on and off the Kia EV9 by pressing this little button here. It says EV. And then this is the gear selector. So you turn this to put it in reverse, to put it in drive, and you push this little button on the end for park. Here on the steering wheel, we have some pretty typical controls. I can change the view of on the driver information screen. I can turn on or on the smart cruise control. I can set the radio station. There are two buttons down here though that are really important. Four-wheel drive lock, which will lock your wheels so they turn in unison, and drive mode. And this is where you're going to toggle through for your drive mode. Now this is an all-wheel drive. There is a two-wheel drive, but this is an all-wheel drive version of the Kia EV9. I've been driving it in Eco all day, which you can see our gears, our drive modes up here. So I've been driving it in Eco because I want the most economical performance. But normal is going to feel like any normal car. If you want to feel, feel in it a little bit, you can put it in sport mode. You can customize your drive modes. And if it's snowing, and we've had a lot of that this week, you can actually put it in snow mode. And then it goes back to showing me what my range is. So I know how many miles I have left on my range. And then you'll see this big screen come to life. This is a brand new system. It's the first time that Kia has had this new system, which is kind of interesting because they just redesigned their multimedia system a few years ago, and it actually was really good. And now they have a whole new system. So let me show you what this is. So this is your multimedia screen here. You can see this whole area that I'm scrolling there. There's a static climate panel here, which you're going to use these buttons down here on the console to control. Some of them are touch sensitive. You can turn on or off the AC, but you're going to change the temperature and the fan speed over here on this panel. And then here is the driver information screen right behind the driver, all contained in a single flat panel glass screen. So the big thing that is new to Kia for the 2024 model year, and of course new to the EV9, which is a brand new model, is everything in this screen right here. So here's my phone, here's my Apple CarPlay, I can take a voice memo, I can set my seats, so this gives me second row. We've got second row heated and cooled seats in this car, so I can, and I can also fold and unfold, and I will show you that as well. And then I can go back, let's see. So I've got my seats, I can set up some of my functions here, and there's a shortcut to that. So you don't have to go through this screen to get there. Valet mode, vehicle diagnostics. So if something's not working right or the way you think it should, that's the place to find that. Maintenance, you'll find your maintenance schedule, your HD radio data notifications, and your manual. And this is a great feature because if you have a question, you can scan this QR code and get all the information right there on your phone. So that's a great thing to have. But this is a big screen, and not everybody wants to have to dig through a screen to find something. So we've got these quick access buttons right here. Now I want you to notice they are flat, and that's because they are actually haptic, meaning when you press it, you will feel, and you might even hear a little noise. I can set my favorites by pressing the star, and then here is my quick access to this screen where all of the vehicle settings are found. So this is where I'm going to set up my car if I want to my drive mode, which there's another way to access drive mode. That's not the only way. I can set up my digital keys here, which is basically your phone. You see there's an image of a phone there. So I can set that up there. Because it's an electric car and you really want to have as much control over the flow of energy and the functions that require energy, Kia is allowing you to decide, if you would like to, how much or how little energy you use in these different functions. So I can set up my utility mode, smart regeneration. We have it at normal deceleration. I probably should have actually put it in faster deceleration today, and I did not, but I wish I had because I probably would have actually used less battery. And then I can turn on or off this voice alert that tells me when the car is charging. So I plug it in and it will tell me the car is charging now, and it will actually, I will hear it, which is kind of a nice little detail. So just all these fun things are in here. And this is one of my favorites. So this is the head-up display. And I have a video to show you of the head-up display, but I can actually choose what I want to see in my head-up display. I'm actually going to adjust it up a little bit because I was having trouble seeing it. I can also turn on or off the blind spot, which I really like, because being able to see right in the head-up display without taking my eyes off the road that there's a car in my blind spot on either side is a really fabulous piece of information. I appreciate having that, especially with a car full of people, a lot of kids, and a lot going on. I'll take all the help I can get. So a lot of great new details here on this multimedia system, a lot of things to learn to do here, and things that are going to help you to get better performance out of your battery. But let's talk about the battery, because there's a lot of information here, and there are two things that are going to help you, actually three things that are going to help you get the most distance out of your battery, the most range out of your battery. So the first thing is heated steering wheel and heated seats and vented seats. So rather than heating the cabin, just heat the seat that you're sitting in, and you will be able to save on that energy for driving rather than heating the car. So that's number one. Number two is called iPedal. So when I'm driving, I can pull this left paddle and I get iPedal. Pull the paddle to get iPedal. And I see right here it says iPedal Max. Now, I've been driving an iPedal Max all day long, and basically I almost never need to touch the brake. I have able to slow the car by taking my foot off of the accelerator, and as I lift off the accelerator, the car slows. And I've learned to be able to just attenuate that accelerator a little more for a little more speed, let it off for a little less speed, let it off even more, a little quicker, and come to a full stop. I love being able to do that. That is like the secret, the key to life in driving an electric car is attenuating the accelerator. That is where the car regenerates and you actually end up with more miles than you think you would. So, you know, saving miles on your battery is a great thing. Honestly, if you could do that with your iPhone, you totally would. So that's number two. Number three is this thing, auto hold. And this might be my favorite feature. And that is, you push this, and then once you get to an intersection and you have put your foot on the brake all the way to the floor and you have auto hold on, you can then take your foot off the brake and you could sit here just like this and the car will not move. Now, a lot of cars have this, but this is really great for an electric car because that means the car is not going to creep forward. That means that you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to sit right here until you hit that accelerator again and start moving the car. So those are some really great ways to make sure that you're getting the most out of your battery range. Now, let's talk about some of the conveniences and creature comforts in the Kia EV9. An electric car without all the interior mechanics that a gas-powered car requires gives designers a lot of leeway to rethink how you use the space inside a car. And that's exactly what Kia has done with this. So this is a floating center console. I want you to notice how it floats here. And I love this huge bin. You could put a handbag in here. You could put a tablet in here. There's a lot of space. I mean, I just stuck my umbrella there, but it's a great place to put a handbag. And we've been asking car designers for so long to create a place to put a handbag. Well, Kia did. Down here, you'll also see there is a power wall. So you can plug in a USB port there, a USB-C charger there, a USB-C here, and then you can decide which one is going to be the data transfer. So this one can transfer data or this one can transfer data. Now that one is. So you get to choose between them. And then you have the cigarette adapter style. 12-volt outlet is right there. So it's a nice little power wall, 2 USB ports, and then the opportunity to choose which one has Apple CarPlay and which one doesn't. But Apple CarPlay can also connect wirelessly, which I really love, and that's a great thing. That's a really nice feature that you can just connect via Bluetooth. So you're just going to connect your phone with Bluetooth, and then Apple CarPlay will show up on the multimedia system here. On the top of the console, there's a lot of function too. So we have this retractable lid here that covers these two very large cup holders that have kind of a novel function. So you can move them out of the way if you would like, just like that. Or you can push these little buttons to bring the cup holders back. So it's up to you. You can make the space as flexible as you like. There are some buttons here. This is the auto hold, downhill descent, and then our parking cameras and our parking sensors. You always want the parking sensors on so you don't dent your bumpers, which is a painful experience and expensive. In here, there's a nice tiny little cubby. I've got a couple of cords in here, not much there, but this is our wireless phone charger right there. I really love the position of it. It puts the phone where it's completely accessible. It's at my fingertips, but it's not a distraction. I'm not looking at it. It's not hidden away, but it's also not right in front of me. I appreciate that. And then up here, we have our lights and we have our panoramic sunroof, which opens like this, and it's actually a dual pane sunroof, which can be opened for front passengers and for rear passengers, giving us a lot of light in this cabin. It looks and it feels really good. I also have a live view, digital rear view mirror. So this gives me, I have the reflective mirror or I have the video mirror. I can choose which one I want. So here's a detail that I don't think I've seen before. So this is the digital rear view mirror. I'm in drive, but I'm gonna put it in reverse and it tilts down. So does the mirror on the side, both side view mirrors. So I'm gonna put it in drive, it tilts up. I put it in reverse, it tilts down. I put it in drive, it tilts up. I put it in reverse, it tilts down. Very clever. Now this is not available on all trims. We are in the top of the line, the GT, and it has every bell and whistle, including this, which I do really appreciate. And it has this surround view camera. And this gives us this really beautiful view. It has a nice graphic of the Kia EV9. And then I can go back to I can set some of my favorites, however I'd like to. If I don't want those rear guidance lines, I can set those there. And then I can change the view. I can see in front of the vehicle, I can see behind it, and I can get that full surround view. And so that's a really nice consideration. And actually something that you should have. This is a full-size SUV. You sit pretty high off the ground, and you do have a very large blind spot in front of you. So making sure that there's no one or no thing in front of you is really important. It's great to have that camera right here at your fingertip. And then the last thing I'll show you on here, which is something we've seen from Kia plenty in the past, and that is our blind spot monitor. So when I put the turn signal on, I get a camera view of the road next to me. If I turn on my left turn signal, I get a camera view on the left side of the car. And that's a great detail. Not every car maker has adopted this technology, but it's absolutely one of my favorites. And that's because if you're driving in the city and there are bicyclists who drive along the road, you are sure to see them. And sometimes they're definitely in your blind spot or moving into your blind spot. So you look, they're not there, you start to move, and all of a sudden they're there. This will prevent that from happening. It's a really wonderful thing. Okay, now let's go get in the second row and let me show you what the features are that you will love and some things that you need to know about in the second row of the Kia EV9. Before I climb into the second and third row of the Kia EV9, let's talk about kids and car seats. A lot of families are going to use the Kia EV9 for children, transporting your children to and from everywhere you go. And it's a great car for driving around town and all those short errands all day, every day. But how well are kids' car seats going to fit? Well, let's take a look. Now, I didn't bring my car seats because they're too cumbersome for me to carry on this trip. But I did bring my tape measure, and we know that we want ideally about 36 inches from seat back to seat back for rear-facing car seats, and we have about 32 inches here with this seat set for my driving position, and I'm 5'8". So there's a lot of leg room, but we have about 32 inches, and that is as far back as the seat goes. It will not go back any further. Now it will recline back a little bit more like that. So there you can get about 36 inches by reclining the seat way back. Now what that's going to do is that's going to impede the third row space, which means that no one is going to sit behind this seat if there's a very reclined baby seat in this seat. So if you were to go for the bench version, we have captain's chairs here, of course, but if you were going to opt for the bench version and put a child passenger car seat here, so if it's forward facing, it will fit, but you have about 28 inches from this console to the seat back, maybe not even quite 28 inches, maybe more like 26 inches. So if you're doing rear facing, so the rear facing seat back will come back to here, and you're going to have about 30 inches. So it would have to be a little bit more of an upright position and not quite so reclined. But it would fit. So if you're going to put a child passenger car seat here and here, or in these two seats, in the passenger and the middle, they're going to fit, but it's going to be a little tight. Another good bit of news for families, there's not one, not two, not three, but 4 full sets of child car seat latches. The lower anchors here and the upper tethers on the back of the seat that you'll see on the seat back, but there's 4, 2 here in the center and 2 in the third row. That's really nice if you're putting child passenger booster seats in the third row. You can latch install them, and that's really easy. Let's look at what it's going to look like to hop into the third row by moving this seat. So the first thing I'm going to show you is there is a tab right here on the shoulder that pushes the seat forward. And that's how you're going to access the third row. So it creates this little space here that you can climb through. But I want to show you this, because this is something that you need to think about. So your child is sitting here, and or your mother-in-law is sitting in the seat. They're very comfortable, and you have a teenager in the back seat who's having a little fun, and they decide to push that button. Well, look what happens. This is very uncomfortable. And when I put resistance on it, it stops, but it doesn't go back. So this seat definitely is designed to move if there's a child passenger car seat in it, and that's great, but make sure that there's no child in that car seat, because it does not have a stop mechanism to keep it from moving if there's weight in the seat. So something to consider. This is the GT model with push button everything. You may want to think about getting seats that are manually operated rather than electric if you're going to put children in the third row. The center row is designed to spoil. And when I say spoil, I mean really spoil. Remember, this is not a luxury car and it's not a limousine, but you might think it is. So first of all, these beautiful seats, these headrests that are curved and they're designed to cradle your head. There are USB ports here, so they're on the side of the seat back. And if the rear seat passenger wants to add a little leg room or change the position of the front seat, all you have to do is push these buttons. It's just great. It's something that we first saw in Genesis, and Kia has brought it down to the Kia level, which we really love. There are cup holders here, so you have 2 cup holders here. And then rear seat passengers have this nice little tray. The tray can actually extend out a little bit more, or it can retract in, and there's a nice big bin here where you can leave some things. You want to leave your game console, you want to leave your tablet while you run into the mall. You can actually just put it right there, and it's got a little ambient light there too. So if you had put something there, you'll be able to see that it's right there. I love that. There are beautiful pockets here on the seat back. There are air vents here, a grab bar here. We have our climate control panel is right up here, so I can turn on or off the air conditioning, the temperature, the fan speed. On the door panels right here, I can turn on or off my heated and vented seats which is amazing for the second row. But this is the ultimate thing. With my seat, I put my seat all the way back, and I am going to lift up my leg rest and put my seat back and take a nap. So I've just spent some bonus time in the Kia EV9, got to know this car a little bit better, and I have some really great news for you. In our first test drive, I played around a lot with the powered center row seats, and I found that the relaxation seats, which are the ones with the extending leg rest, would actually move completely forward even if there was weight in the seat. And I worried that all the power seats would function that way. Now, it won't. If you buckle the seatbelt, you deactivate that function, so it won't work with the seatbelt buckled. But what I worry about is car seats that are latch installed, or someone getting out of the car and not quite out, and the passenger in the third row pushing this button. Well, here's what happens if you push the button. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, if I move forward a little bit, the back does release, but it's very gentle, and it doesn't feel stressful at all. It doesn't take any effort really to move it back. So I don't consider this to be a danger. I don't love the relaxation seats for that reason. I think that might be something that is really for adults only. And I'm very happy to report that passengers in the center row and the third row are going to be completely safe, even with the fully powered seats. Thank you, Kia. Now, let's talk about getting into the third row, accessing the third row. What does that look like? So push that button, it slides forward. It can do that with a child passenger car seat installed. And now you're going to climb in. And oof. And that's pretty much how you're going to do it, is you're going to slide in that way, because it is not a big opening. There's not a ton of space. Now let's see how this does. So this is coming all the way back to my legs. My knees are flush against the back of the seat. I have a fair amount of space. My knees are definitely hitting the seat, but they're not under my chin, so they're not. Sometimes they're up like this. But the floor is very flat, and it's the same height in the center as it is in the third row. So I would definitely ask the person sitting in this center seat to please move her seat forward to give me a little more space. But it's not horrible. It's not. I don't feel super claustrophobic between the panoramic sunroof, these really nice wide windows, and lots in the pass-through here. It feels pretty comfortable. Also making me feel comfortable is there are two USB ports, one on either side. They're two very large cup holders. I could put a phone or something in here. And these beautiful leatherette seats. They are faux leather that Kia has used to upholster the interior. And then if I really want to be comfortable, I'm just going to stretch out my legs and enjoy. Rear passengers will also be comfortable with this air vent here. You can actually turn this to turn the air on or off, and you can direct it with these vents. And then you can take a nap. You just pull this little tab next to you, and the seat reclines. And then getting in or out through the pass-through is super easy, and that's the thing that we love. So if you really are going to put people in the third row all the time, consider the captain's chairs. Getting in and out of the third row is easiest with center row captain's chairs. The Kia EV9 is the car we've been waiting for. We've been excited for electric cars for a long time. We love the technology. We love the idea of never going to the gas station, but we needed a true SUV, all-wheel drive, seating for 6 or 7 passengers, lots of space for kids' car seats, and up-to-the-minute technology that gives us the things that we're used to in our tablets and our computers, also in our car. Kia has completely loaded this with incredible options, all of which, even with every single one of them, will come under the cap for the federal tax incentive that it will qualify for once Kia starts building it in its West Point, Georgia plant. Starting price about $55,000, all in under $80,000. Yes, that's a lot of money for a Kia, but that's also the future of electric driving.